I went to Bath University. I went there in 1979, left in 1983, and in those sort of early stages of student radio, I was at University Radio Bath, 963 AM. Well, do you know, I just did a few shows, and I used to do the show called A Slow, Comfortable Funk Up Against the Wall, which is embarrassing even to say now, but clearly there was a cocktail called A Slow, Comfortable Screw, and I thought it'd be quite nice to have a slow, comfortable funk. I was really into jazz, funk and soul at the time. The lovely thing about student radio, then it was, and I'm sure some stations are like this, but I know others are far better run now, but basically you could sort of just get on there and do whatever you wanted. And so I loved soul and jazz funk, and so I could get on there for 3 hours and play my favourite songs. My initial view on student radio was that it was going to be full of the fun people at university, and actually that wasn't actually the case. It was full of, engineers and sort of electrical engineers, and sort of it was quite boffiny at the time, to be fair, and the jocks in a way were very much a secondary thing. But for a few of my friends and myself, we were very much into the radio side of it, and I hadn't really thought about a career in radio at that time. It wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do, but having done it for a little bit, and then I ended up as part of my degree in America, because ours was a thick sandwich course, so I ended up doing sort of my second placement, my second semester was about 9 months in America. And when I heard some of their stations over there, that's because I was doing a business marketing degree. They were so well marketed compared to, commercial radio was only about 10 years old in England at the time, So it made me think, God, that I'd like to be like some of those American radio stations. They were brilliantly marketed, superbly targeted, and just a billion times better than what we had over here at the time. And that's the two of those things, being on air at URB and then having that, made me realise that's what I wanted to do when I left uni. Well, obviously, for people who get involved in the university station, it can be, everyone needs experience if you're trying to get into this business, and more people want to get into the entertainment world, and so it gives you some experience. It gives you some time to cut your teeth and cock up and make mistakes in a way where it doesn't matter, because the same rules, the same Ofcom rules do not apply on student radio than they do out in the real world, and that's great because you're young, you need to let your hair down, have some fun, and try things. And it allows you to try lots of things out, find out who you are on radio, and it takes years and years to find out who you are, but it might, instead of just allowing you to find out who you are, it'll certainly probably allow you to find out what you don't want to be or what you're not good at. And that's really useful as well, to try and help steer you and find out also whether you think you might have thought you're going to be the best, wittiest DJ in the world, but actually once you get on air, you might not be very good at it, and vice versa. You might think you're quite shy, but actually you might turn out to be brilliant once you get into the studio environment. So I think it just allows you to have a go. And on the wider issue as well, it's great having student radio because you're creating, a little community radio station for your community, which is, the student body. And in America, student radio is massive. We don't have the sort of college radio scene quite that they have in the States. College radio has been hugely influential in the States, breaking bands, breaking new music. Ours is getting more that way now. It's becoming more of a network, and that's superb, because there's a whole load of new bands that are breaking, playing live, playing at universities that they're hearing, and nice to hear that and break that kind of music as well. So it serves a really good purpose on many levels, I think. I remember once doing a show on a Friday or Saturday night, can't remember which one I used to do my show, but it was certainly evenings, and a friend of mine came down, and she was a really good cook, and she had baked some fantastic cakes, and we were just sitting there having a beer and drinking cakes on air, but they were all dope cakes, and I did not know, and I tell you, they were delicious, and we ate all of them during the show, and by the end of the show, I must have been off my trolley, to be fair, and it seemed the most enjoyable, relaxed show in the history of the world. But, I have to say, I'm not a big druggie at all, never have been. But that was just a very silly, enjoyable night. Now, clearly, if I'd been on, a normal radio station, I would have been taken off air, I think, because when we listened back to it, it just got silly. We all just got the giggles. I think that's basically, we just got the giggles. I didn't fall asleep in the corner, thank goodness, but it was just a very light-hearted, stupid affair. So when I think of my URB days, I just think of that with all these very funny cakes. And it was, it was a fun show.